Hey guys, welcome to episode 2.1. The point one is because we recorded way too much content for a single episode, so we're going to actually break it up into two episodes. We're talking about a little movie called Wonder Woman. This episode's going to be completely spoiler-free, and we'll save all the spoilers for episode 2.2. We also talk about the Mask of the Phantasm Blu-ray, Michael Bay hopefully stepping away from the Transformers series, a couple of Lovecraft pieces regarding the Call of Cthulhu game and Lovecraft Country, the Hellboy remake, Danny Elfman joining the Justice League as a composer, obviously not a superhero. Also a short mention of some of the massive talents that we've lost over the last few weeks. And lastly, we also talk about a book called Wonder Woman Spirit of Truth. It's a beautiful oversized trade by Paul Dini, Alex Ross, and William Moulton Marston that pretty much anyone can appreciate. It's definitely worth the read, and it complements the movie quite well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your doom.
Welcome to your doom.
Hi everyone, this is Atul.
I'm drinking. Sorry, this is Justin. Hey guys.
Welcome to episode 2 of Welcome to Your Doom. How's your day going?
My day is fantastic. We are having a drink here, starting things off, obviously. We're drinking Jack Daniels. We got some special bottles. We got the Master Distiller series, which is actually not episode 4. What's it called? Recipe number 4.
Not quite there yet.
And then we also are having some of the Single Barrel Select. I got both of these actually on business trips, which was cool. I got one, I bought it myself on the way to a business trip because the gentleman I was going to be drinking with over there is a very strong supporter of Jack Daniels, loves that shit. And the Single Barrel I actually got for helping out somebody else that I was working with. Basically, There was a big problem with some of the stuff we were doing, and I helped her out, and thank God for that, because
Wow. Sounds like you
it was
killed someone for her.
I can't say yes or no to that.
Yeah. Rolled up a body in the carpet, threw it into Lake Ontario, and you got a bottle of J Day.
J
You
Day?
got a bottle of J Day.
Yeah, just
for your
decided
trouble.
to be Australian for a second. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
We were in Maine. So let's oh my God. So I was on Instagram yesterday, and I actually there's this Instagram. I'm gonna promote somebody on Instagram right now.
Whoa.
There's this
You
one
settle
Instagram.
down.
There's this one Instagram account called History of Batman that I follow. A couple of my buddies actually pointed me to it. And they gave me probably one of the best pieces of information I've gotten in the last few days. Probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time is now finally being given the 1080p treatment. It's going to Blu-ray.
Dick Tracy.
The
Shadow.
That's already there. No, stop it. Relax. I'm going to get to that. And this isn't a surprise. I'm not. It's potentially, arguably, the best Batman story of all time. Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh shit! No
Yeah,
way.
finally, man. It's only been
Really?
Blu-ray. It's only been like a shitty res Blu-ray. It looked like crap.
Blu-ray,
Blu-ray.
whatever you want to call it.
No, yeah, they just finally announced, and I think they announced it either yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And the indication is it's supposed to come out sometime next month. They didn't give an exact release date, but
I did not
sometime
hear
next
that,
month.
sir.
Yeah, it's fairly recent. So History of Batman had the scoop for me on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had the scoop, but somebody let them know. And then they let me know.
Yeah, that's pretty great, man. Mask of the Phantasm, for whatever reason, is beloved by fans, but treated like shit by Warner Brothers. I have no idea why. Like, Warner Brothers Home Video doesn't just get their act together and get this thing out.
Yeah.
People want this. It's almost like the level of hysteria for this Blu-ray is probably like the level of hysteria for like the original trilogy for Star Wars. It's like people are constantly, because, and it's not even like there's a good copy of this movie out there.
No, there
it's
isn't.
cropped 4:3
4.3 is actually the native size. It was
All right,
filmed
so
in.
we had no, that was Return of the Joker that we had an argument about. This.
Same thing for this though.
So,
Absolutely.
but this was released theatrically.
It was released It was released.
Stop drinking before these
extra
these podcasts.
These broadcasts. Yeah. It was released theatrically, but it was also designed to be put on a television. So yeah, it was they did have a 16:9 or whatever the aspect ratio was for the cinematic release, but that was just a cropped release.
So they cropped the 4.3 release to be 16 by. Are you 100% sure?
I am 99.8% sure.
Jeez,
there's a very minor, very minor shadow of doubt in me.
All right.
But I'm pretty sure that it was.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it.
Well,
because
wait a second. It had to be.
No, because it was intended to be straight to DVD.
Yes.
Or, sorry, just straight to VHS.
VHS at the time, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
I'm like 99.9% sure that I'm right. It's the same thing with Transformers 89. Or, no, what was it? It was 86?
No.
It might be.
Really? That's fine.
Transformers the movie?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was like 85 or
I think that
86.
was meant to be released theatrically, though. That has a 16:9 cut.
The Transformers the movie,
Yeah.
it's 4:3, man.
Why
It's 4:3.
doing this to
That
me?
one I know 100% for sure. 110%. Don't even look. I'm telling you for sure.
The collector's
Transformers
edition.
movie was
the
86.
The collector's edition Blu-ray that we all got for this past Christmas.
Yes. Comes with a 4:3 because that's the fucking thing that it came in.
And then what about? But there is a widescreen cut.
Yeah, it's cropped.
No,
I will fucking show you after
Come
this
on,
podcast.
yeah.
I know this one. This one's not even an argument. This one I know for sure.
Jeez.
I am 100% certain. So, anyways, that's my tidbit for the moment. Is that? Wow. And then I also the only other thing I wanted to mention was Michael Bay just said that this what is it? What the fuck movie? Oh, Last Night. It's absolutely his last Transformers flick. So my question to you is, what's the over/under on that actually being true? And I think that the answer to that question is going to be completely dependent on the question: is this movie going to make as much money as the last one did?
You know what?
I just want to know your thoughts.
I think there's a lot of things. I haven't figured out what Michael Bay has been doing to have these films make $1 billion worldwide. He's got, I don't know, he's got a bunch of headless chickens in his house, and he's doing like some voodoo, and he's hired a conglomerate of warlocks to get this done because I don't get it. Every time one of these movies comes, especially Age of Extinction, which was really just a slog. I remember watching it on Netflix with my wife, and typically if someone goes to the bathroom in the middle of the movie, we pause it. Like we pause it and wait for you. She went to the bathroom. I went to reach for the pause button. She's like, just forget it. Just leave it. It's fine. And then when I did pause it, ignoring her, I paused it, and I'm like, holy shit, we're only an hour and a half through this movie. It's a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
She's like, what the whatever. So, I don't know why I didn't decide to swear there. I'm swearing everywhere else. But
that was an odd choice.
That was an odd choice. I think it's because it was supposedly coming from my wife, and she doesn't swear that much. Anyway, yeah, I just don't get it. I hope people vote with their dollar. It doesn't look good. It looks like more of the same. What I'm waiting for and what we should do a podcast on is who is our dream team to bring the revamped Transformers back into theaters. That's what we should do. We should do, assuming that, we have a shot at a revamp. Michael Bay had his shot 5 times, right? So I think that maybe it's time for somebody else to have a shot. Just like, Nolan does his series of films on Batman, somebody else gets a shot. Bay does 5 Transformers movies that are universally hated but gross a tremendous amount of money for whatever reason. Give somebody else a shot. I'm waiting for this next wave of Transformers films.
And that's why I'm kind of in the same boat in that, like, I liked them more than I should, some of them, especially the second one. I like that one.
You like the second one?
Okay.
All right.
Let me defend myself.
You do have to defend yourself.
I absolutely do. The second one had some fucking scenes that were just so dope that I kind of can sit through some of it. I don't know that I could say that I could watch the whole film again. I could watch the first one again, and I can. The third one was legitimately good.
So, the third movie, I
Legitimately good.
enjoyed.
Sorry, on a bell curve for Transformers films, but
I actually sort of enjoyed the third movie
Yes.
Because it was like I don't know. Leonard Nimoy was in it. That was a big deal for me, man. He wasn't playing Galvatron, but he was in it, and it was kind of awesome.
he was kind of a Galvatron role, though.
Yeah, I don't know. His Transformer had a mustache, didn't he?
So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
how do you tie that back to Galvatron? He had a
Galvatron-
mustache. He's probably a good guy.
Galvatron
It's fine.
isn't a mustache kind of guy. I don't know. Anyway, I actually did quite. The last scene, the attack on Chicago in that film, is actually like something I would use to demo a home theater system.
Yes,
for example,
absolutely.
some amazing stuff in there. But look, I think every other movie is a total slog.
Yeah,
Like,
the Age of Extinction was it was barely redeemable. The second one, the only reason I give it any redemption points, the opening scene was dope. Like I don't remember what the opening scene was, but
the dinosaurs were they getting bombed? Sorry, what?
No.
what were you
This
talking about?
no. The fourth one's completely irredeemable. It's horrible.
okay.
Aside from not Jeff Bridges, heavyset guy. What's his name? Roseanne. John Goodman. That's what I meant to say. John Goodman's the tits. And Ray Winston's in it too.
John Goodman was in the fourth Transformer.
John Goodman voices Hound. And
'Cause I was like,
Ray
I
Winston
think-
voices what's that character's name? Crosshairs, I think, is the Transformers name.
Oh, you know who's
Ken Watanabe.
What? Yeah, Frasier is.
Frasier's in it. Just anyways. So
Anyway, yeah, we're getting
great casting, but good lord, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
the second one, like I said, I'm going to defend it. Opening scene's dope, where they're chasing down that one Transformer, the big wheel Transformer. And
Yeah,
then
he's a
Optimus
single
drives
one.
out of a fucking of an aircraft carrier, transforms in midair, and then transforms again to land. I
Yeah.
was like, this is so cool. Like that was the kind of, and then the forest scene. Those were the two things.
I said we fight together.
I know. I'm not taking the logic out of it. The forest scene was dope as shit.
Yeah.
And even the thing at the end with the Fallen where he unites with Jetfire, I'm not trying to justify any of the logic behind that, but when he became Super Prime and just started beating people up, that was kind of dope. But that's the thing is I'm not going to justify the movie on that. It's just for me, I'm not going to say I don't own it on Blu-ray. I'm just saying I do.
Fair enough. I don't want to dig into that right now.
Basically, there's been maybe 1.5 good Transformers films by Michael Bay done. If you add up parts
Five
of the
movies.
Yeah, if you add up the 5 movies. But yeah, I'm really hoping that this one shits the bed domestically and fucking the global market, man.
They'll feed it. That's where it makes a lot of its money, right?
And I hope that they don't. I hope that just like you said, I hope that the consumers just vote with their dollar and just say, look, you showed us some pretty shitty stuff with that last one. We're not paying for this.
Yeah. So I'm not one to shit on a movie. I don't like when people pass judgment on films that they haven't seen. It's more of I think for this one I sort of I've seen all of the other ones, and I sort of understand what I'm going to be getting with this one, and I kind of want something different.
Yes,
it's not that I think this movie is going to suck. I just even if it's good, I'd like to see something different. I want someone else to take a shot at it.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Because even if it is good, I'll be happy that it's good. I'll enjoy it, but at the same time, there needs to be something different done in this franchise. I can only take so much human-centric. I mean, I'm there for the Transformers, right? Those are my boys. I want to see that. I don't want to see Shia LaBeouf running around being awkward. I don't want to see Mark Wahlberg acting like super engineer dad or whatever the fuck character he plays.
Yeah.
That's Josh Duhamel and Tyrese are cool as hell.
I like Josh. Josh is a good guy. I watch movies. I used to watch a TV show called Las Vegas. Quick aside, he was in it with James Caan. Great, funny show. He was really funny, and that's when I started to watch movies with him in it. I think he's a pretty solid actor. Anyway, I've got something that's not related to that.
Good.
Yeah. E3 just wrapped up maybe a week and a half ago. And a lot of big news coming out of there, and we can talk about that another time. But one of the things that two things actually sprung out at me. One was there's going to be a game called The Call of Cthulhu. And that's it. That's all it's called. It's basically named after the H.P. Lovecraft's famous story. And I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft junkie. I really enjoy his stories. I love that sort of cosmic horror thing, and I think that's something we'll revisit in the podcast. But the game is an investigative RPG, which is pretty cool, and it tracks your sanity as a person as you investigate the murder of someone named Sarah Hawkins while facing the horrors of a grim island filled with monstrosities lurking in the dark. Recruit and lead a small team of investigators, sending them across the island to solve various cases. Experience rich, open exploration full of deep dialogue with meaningful choices that impact the narrative and relationships with your companions. So this is great. There's a sanity aspect to it where you can't, like, you actually tracking how sane you are. And just looking from the trailer, it's a very gothic, very atmospheric take. And I think, like, the world needs more H.P. Lovecraft in their lives, I think. And H.P. Lovecraft's notoriously difficult to translate to any kind of media, whether it's film or video games.
Yeah.
There is a game that tries to do it. There are a couple of games that have used the sanity aspect. One was a game called The Darkest Dungeon, which I just bought for PS4 on sale. And it's an RPG, a 2D RPG, turn-based RPG. And they track sanity of your party. And if somebody goes insane, they fail in combat, stuff like that. So it has gameplay mechanics built around sanity.
Dope.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. It is developed by... Oh dear, I do not have the name offhand.
I don't know nearly enough about
Focus
the Lovecraft
Home
universe.
Interactive. Yeah. I think it's something that we'll get into later.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a viewing of something
I've
like
drank
Lovecraft.
at Lovecraft themed bars.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
At least
there
a couple times.
Yes, there's a bar by my apartment in New York City when I lived there, on Avenue B, and I think it's on Avenue B and 4th or 5th. Avenue B and 4th, in Alphabet City. And it's called Lovecraft, and they have Lovecraft themed drinks and like really atmospheric sort of turn of the century sort of steam based architecture, stuff like that. Great stuff. Anyway, something to look out for. Call of Cthulhu, the official video game. I am excited. All right. Related to that, real quick, Jordan Peele, guy who wrote and directed Get Out.
The other half of Key and Peele.
That is correct.
Yeah.
He is producing a series with J.J. Abrams for HBO called Lovecraft Country. And it's based off of a book. It's a modern book, but the book has sort of racial overtones in terms of dealing with racism in the United States in a primarily white-dominated society. So I can't remember. It's... what year? Since 1950s, Jim Crow America, basically. Then he's like basically traveling across America to find his missing brother. So he has to deal with sort of the racial tension at the time. On top of that, he's dealing with sort of Lovecraftian level cosmic horror along the way. Okay. So it's a very interesting plot. I haven't read the book, but now that it's shown up on this radar, just having Jordan Peele do something in the Lovecraftian vein has completely blown my mind because I loved Get Out. I think Jordan Peele is incredibly talented. So
I haven't seen Get Out yet. I hope it wasn't a fluke. I don't think
No,
it is.
I
I'm
don't-
not saying I think
yeah.
it is. I'm it's his first. It is his first. It's his directorial debut, right?
yeah, that's right. But
So,
he's
I hope
direct.
it's
If you
not a
look at some
fluke.
of the Key and Peele episodes, I remember
brilliant.
I remember telling my wife that one of these two guys loves horror films because some of these shorts are very horror centric.
Yeah,
right.
the way
Like,
that they set things up, and,
Yeah,
and
the-
even the way they use music, and yeah,
But
absolutely.
even like directly, like
Yes.
some of them are around vampires and zombies
Yeah,
and
yeah.
post-apocalyptic sort of zombie scenario and all of this stuff. And like one of these guys loves horror, and I didn't know who it was, and now it's obvious, right? Jordan Peele is the guy who loves horror, and he's getting into it now. People are just handing him shit. I think he
hope
got
they
the
keep
script
doing
for
it.
like Akira,
yeah,
and like he's like, no, I don't want to do it. But yeah, good on him. I want him to take on interesting projects, producing a HBO television show around Lovecraft Country sounds right up his alley. It sounds great.
I hope the best for him.
Yeah.
If he's like I said, I haven't seen Get Out yet. I've heard so many good things about it. I hope it's as I hope whatever his future endeavors are is as successful and well received.
Yep. Agreed. I'll drink to that.
Amen.
Sure will.
Give me a little refill. I'm
Yeah.
running low.
Get in there.
Sorry, guys. You got to listen to us pour drinks.
You got something on your end? I got
No,
something.
no, no. If you got a little something else, there was shit. Something popped in my head and now I completely forgot it. But
I'm gonna fill the
void.
Fill the void.
Fill the void.
Hellboy.
Yes,
So we talked
that was the thing that popped in my head.
Yeah,
because the Lovecraft stuff. I thought of. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. Guillermo del Toro has a very Lovecraftian view on certain things. So his Hellboy and even Mike Mignola's comic delved into the Cthulhu mythos a little bit. So instead of Hellboy 3 with Guillermo del Toro, we're going to get a reboot of Hellboy, which is pretty cool. I am okay with that.
I'm not.
Starring David Harbour from Stranger Things. And sweet baby Jesus, I think that's great casting. I think Hellboy, I think Ron Perlman he's Hellboy. But if someone were to rival him, I feel like David Harbour is going to do a great job. I think he's going to do a great job as Hellboy. He's got that great gravelly voice. He even, when I see him on screen, he's like Perlman. I feel like he's like Perlman. His face is just really weird. He's got those very lionish sort of eyes. I don't know how to explain it. I think Harbour is going to be great, and the guy who's directing it is I gotta stop drinking. Neil Marshall. Now Neil Marshall has directed some really great movies. One of which is Dog Soldiers. This movie I've seen so many times and I absolutely love it.
I watch it every Halloween.
Do you? Dog Soldiers?
Absolutely. October hits, I always watch Dog Soldiers.
It's a great movie. I would say his most accomplished film and something that I feel like every horror fan should see, and I think even the average moviegoer should see, as long as they can take a little bit of tension, is The Descent. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that?
So are you.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Fucking great movie.
Yeah, The Descent is an amazing film. He's also done other movies that I really enjoy, like Centurion. He directed a few of the episodes of Game of Thrones. Great director.
Yeah.
Love his stuff, and he's going to direct this movie. It's going to be a hard R rating. And that's not, I want to kind of make this clear, people, that's not jumping on any sort of bandwagon. It's not the Deadpool Logan bandwagon. If you've read the comic, like the Hellboy series, it's grim and it's graphic.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of fantasy elements to it, and there's certainly comedy in there, but it is a graphic, grim story.
Yep.
Very gothic story. And Guillermo del Toro's version of that is just that. It's del Toro's version of Mignola's Hellboy.
Yeah.
Which is totally cool, right?
Yep.
It's totally great. I enjoyed it very, very much. But I think there is another take on Hellboy that is closer to the source material, which I think that's what this is going to explore.
Yeah. My only problem with it is I wanted to see that trilogy completed. Yeah. You know? And that's to not take anything away from the reboot that they're trying to do, because I agree with you. I do think the casting's fantastic. The only other person I would have pictured playing a pretty decent Hellboy, I don't know, off the top of my head, is Josh Brolin. The voice,
Josh,
the face, he's got that jaw, but he's also got those kind of the eyes thing that you were talking about.
Yeah,
he's got that look. He could do that well.
Yeah, you're right.
He's too
Brolin. He's elbow deep in Thanos. Right?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, man. He's getting that Marvel money.
That came out all wrong, but
you
know
what I mean. Anyways, that was cute. So yeah, there's that's the only other person I could think of off the top of my head. Him or maybe Steve Buscemi. Neil Marshall as director, fantastic. I think that is damn near perfect. It's just the only I have no hate towards the film itself. I just think it's so goddamn unfortunate that we didn't see the conclusion of Del Toro's vision.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
There is some very impressive stuff in that series, and I think there are payoffs that just we
Yeah.
haven't seen yet.
The,
But
the PG-13 for that too, I think it made it a little bit more commercial, a little more accessible to
Sure,
people.
sure.
Well,
And
I
I'm
guess
not-
that's common of any PG-13 rated film.
Yeah.
But it's just that it had such a, when it needed to be serious, and like I'm thinking when Professor Bloom dies.
Oh,
like
Broom.
Broom,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah, that's
Broom. That scene where he's just standing on top of the thing, he can't be there at the funeral because he's fucking Hellboy. He can't just be
Yeah,
down there.
yeah,
but
no,
just
that was a good scene.
that shot of him on top with the rain coming down, he's just holding the rosary.
Yeah, the rosary. Yeah,
It's
good stuff.
there's a lot of really good. There's some serious stuff, but it knows how to be light.
Yeah,
And that's the thing, is you got a guy like Ron Perlman that can deliver those light moments perfectly.
yeah, absolutely. I think it does. It delivered on all fronts, but it was definitely generally sort of a lighter take.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on the movies. I love the fantasy take. Del Toro has a fantasy bent.
Absolutely.
Right? He loves his horror, but he has that fantasy mythological bent. Whereas I think we're going to explore something much more sinister with
Yeah.
this, and I'm ready. I'm
I
ready.
think
to
that's
see that.
okay too.
Yeah, I'm ready to see it.
I'm always going to think of what could have been,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's in good hands. That is that we can agree on for sure.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Couple more things.
What else you got?
I got one thing. I just want to have a little moment here. We've had a lot of unfortunate celebrity deaths, or like a lot of folks that have been influential when we were growing up. We were just we were consuming everything these guys were making. So a couple of names that come to mind, and again, I don't want to miss anyone, but these are the guys that sort of resonated with me. Roger Moore, Powers Booth, Bill Paxton, and Adam West. I don't know how to pay respect to all of these guys. They all deserve 17 podcasts of their own to review their illustrious careers. But out of all of these guys, the Powers Booth Bill Paxton combo really does hurt for me a little bit more than the others, because I love Tombstone, and Powers Booth and Bill Paxton are both in that movie. And then Bill Paxton directed a movie called Frailty, in which Powers Booth and Bill Paxton starred in. And I think those two guys work really, really well together. And man, I watched Tombstone so much as a kid. And Powers Booth's role, I've always he's so great in that movie. And Bill Paxton as well. They're both so great in that movie that and obviously Bill Paxton has got, Aliens and Predator 2 and I'm just naming all the science fiction ones.
Yeah.
But he's got, I was going to say Twister. I'm not really doing him justice. He's done a lot of serious dramatic roles, right? But
He was probably one of my favorite parts of True Lies. Small part.
Oh yeah,
he was
small part.
amazing.
He was
in
such
it. He
a
crushed
douche.
it.
Yeah,
he was the
it's
biggest douche in the world. He was so good.
Loved it. Yeah, exactly. So and Adam West, obviously, hyper pertinent to the content of this particular podcast. Batman. Have you seen Return of the Cape Crusaders?
The animated one. No,
I haven't seen that
yet.
yet. We should watch that and review it for this
Yeah.
podcast, because him and Burt Ward and the actually original cast do all the voice, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
And Roger Moore, I was never much of a Bond guy.
He was always, I mean, given more recent takes on it, he was always up. It's hard for me to say who my favorite Bond was, but he was up there.
For me,
I was introduced to Bond through Roger Moore.
Roger Moore?
Yes, he was the first one I saw.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Moonraker or Octopussy, one of the two.
I never got into Bond films. I'm not a huge. I played GoldenEye for the 64 because it was a great game. But beyond that, never really got into it. But I've seen the movie. I've seen the movies a long time ago, but I understand the resonance that it has with other folks.
Yeah.
But so I just wanted to take a minute to sort of pay our respects to these legends in the industry.
There's actually one more person I wanted to mention. He just passed. I think it was either yesterday or the day before, or
Okay.
it might have been might have been 3 days. John G. Avildsen,
I'm not familiar with the name.
the director of The Karate
Rocky.
Kid and Rocky.
Yes,
exactly.
I did hear this. I did hear that.
I don't know much of his filmography,
Right.
I guess as a director, but
both of those films, just Rocky and Karate Kid alone, are just two that I grew up on and I hold in very, very high regard.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to mention him as well.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So yeah, we just want to pay our respects to these guys that have created content that a lot of us grew up on. So I'm going to awkwardly transition to another topic now. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the game at E3, and I should have mentioned this before, called The Inpatient. And it's a PSVR game, and it was recently revealed. Like, I really don't know anything about it other than the fact that it was recently revealed to be a prequel to Until Dawn.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning this.
That's
I didn't
right.
see this.
Yeah, it's a VR game. It actually takes place in the asylum,
Right.
in which the miners get pulled out of and are entered in, and you play as one of the miners that is changing into, spoilers, a Wendigo. I left that pause there just in case anybody wanted to pause that. But they're changing into a Wendigo, and I think you experience that first person. So it's an interesting take. I think it's super cool. We liked Until Dawn. That was our last episode, so I thought it was worth mentioning.
Word.
Yeah. Danny Elfman does Justice League music. By music, I mean score.
Was it Family Guy that
Did all that? Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm down with that, man. Elfman made the fucking Batman theme. He can't do any wrong in my mind. He could literally just come here right now, take a shit on the table. I'd be like, it's Danny Elfman. That would be my take on it. I'd be like, it's Danny fucking Elfman. He takes shits on tables, I guess. He also made the Batman theme. I gotta let it go.
That's right. Yeah.
And Beetlejuice. He did the
Beetlejuice. Yeah. No, he's done a lot of
pretty
the Tim
much
Burton
anything that Danny Elfman or that Tim Burton has touched.
Yeah, he's done a lot of. He did the Hulk, the original Hulk music. He did the music to Spider-Man.
He did the Sad Hulk theme?
Yes, he did.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, sorry. When you say original Hulk, I mean sorry, not the TV show.
Oh,
Sorry,
I thought you were
my
talking about
mistake.
the TV show.
The Eric Bana Hulk.
Oh, the Hulk. The score in that
Wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And
The movie was
I think
dreadfully
he's
slow, but
we got to do a podcast on that movie. I actually like that movie more than other folks. And
I
realized that
liked
people don't
pieces
like
of it. It
Yeah.
was just very poorly paced, I found.
But yes, I think that Danny Elfman has had a shtick, but I think he's a very versatile composer. And he's composed movies where but unfortunately he's composed for movies where his score is sort of invisible. He did Age of Ultron.
Get the fuck out of here.
And that's why it's not very notable, right? So it's just, but coming back to a DC property, especially with a DC property with one of the most iconic themes ever produced by him, I think that there's really room for some thematic work to be done here. Mm-hmm. So I'm sort of excited what they come up with. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got. I know that was a lot, but
I think that's all the shit that's been going on. Well, not all the shit, but that's a good amount of shit.
That's just like Danny
Danny taking the shit on our table.
That's exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Elfman. Yeah, have another.
All right, so you want to get into this boss battle?
I think we should fight the boss.
Fight the boss. I mean, the amount of JD I've had, I'm gonna be.
You're gonna be sleeping here tonight, sir.
Yeah, that's right.
Good lord.
Me fighting this boss, half in the bag.
Half in the bag boss battles.
Right. This is Wonder Woman. So, the savior of the DCU.
Fucking Wonder Woman.
Yep.
I love it.
It was very, 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 very good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
It was one of these films, like, I always describe how long, what was the runtime? It was about 2 and a bit hours.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been like 220 or something like that. It was up there. I mean.
I didn't feel like it, though. That's the thing. It felt like there wasn't 221. I don't know. Does the runtime include the credits? Probably not.
Well, I have no idea.
Fuck, I don't know. Anyway, if it's 221, it didn't feel like 221 at all. I was never checking my watch. I was never It was a tight movie, no fat on it. There was nothing from the film I would have been like, why did they bother having that stuff?
Yeah.
Side plots. Maybe a little thing here and there, but like I'm talking maybe minutes within this whole film that I could have thought, we might not have needed that. And even that, now that I'm thinking about it, I think you needed everything.
Yeah, I think thematically it required everything that was in the film.
Right.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. Like I mentioned, thematically, and this isn't the last time I'm going to say this. Thematically, things tie together so nicely and into this nice, beautiful bow. And the point the film is trying to make, it doesn't beat you over the head with it, although it is, sort of omnipresent. But it uses it tells the story. It tells the moral in a classy enough way that it doesn't feel like you're being strong armed into feeling a certain way, or beaten over the head with a moral to the story, like other movies, Logan, like that. Like when I say moral, I mean more of like thematically, Logan went into a place where they literally had him fighting his past, and it's just like too much. It's too much.
So when you mentioned that, I gave you some side eye because I'm like, what shit are you talking about, Logan?
Yeah.
But you were literally talking shit about the only thing that I kind of thought the exact same thing about. So okay.
So
that we need to do a podcast.
We need to do a separate one.
Although I feel like we're just gonna be jerking Hugh Jackman off for about an hour. I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty good. I don't think it would take me an hour.
I have very calloused hands.
I mean, my hands have been counting money all my life.
Fuck.
So
lucky you. All right. Anyway, sorry. Back to not jerking off Hugh Jackman with our callous hands.
So yeah, like Gal Gadot is amazing, and Chris Pine. Galvatron.
Galvatron. I just back to the
Galvatron.
Sorry,
plays an amazing Wonder Woman. All right. Galvatron is an incredible Wonder Woman.
He looks so good in those tights.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, you were saying Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot.
Is it Gal Gadot?
She's not French.
I always thought it was Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Gal Gadot.
Thank you.
And apparently it's a sharp T. Who knows? So Gal Gadot and Chris Pine. Gal Gadot is incredible. She handles this role with such like grace and earnestness that there's really just I don't know how else. I can't conceive of another way that this character could have been played. She does such a great job, and she handles those emotional moments with such like a genuine emotion to it, and she knocks it out of the park. And the action scenes, she's convincing. And that's one of the problems I've had with certain films where, like for example, like Black Widow in the Avengers, when she's doing her stunts, I feel like sometimes it's obviously like a stunt double. I feel like sometimes people are throwing themselves like in the direction that she wants them to go and stuff, and I feel like it's not convincing. But I feel like here they've done a great job in making the combat and her action scenes very, very convincing. Like very good, very well done. Chris Pine, I'm not afraid to say this, I think this is Chris Pine's best performance ever in anything. I think this is by far the best work he's done. Mic drop.
All right, let me go back to Gal Gadot because I looked it up, and yes, it looks like there is a T in the pronunciation.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You hit on that note that I was thinking too, just in terms of the emotions. Like, there are times in the movie where she is, what is it? She's enthusiastic experiencing new things where being that enthusiastic about some of the stuff she's doing makes no sense to anybody that's surrounding her.
Sure.
Right? And she plays that so well. Like they're just some of the emotional, like there are points in the film where she's extremely disappointed or just surprised or whatever. She's hitting all those notes perfectly.
Perfectly.
And this is coming from an actress that really the only body of work that I had known her from before that was the Fast and the Furious films.
I haven't even seen her in those.
It was either the fourth or the fifth. And
Yeah.
she was not great in it. She was there. She was a beautiful woman in
Yeah.
a film that just needed a beautiful woman. So, I mean, leading up to it, everybody was shitting on her. She's too skinny. She's too this.
Oh,
She doesn't
man.
look like a woman. This leading up to the Batman Superman. And,
Oh god,
I mean,
that
at
was
that
an
point,
awful. I remember that just being an awful
It
one
was
of one of the many
horrible.
awful times to be a comic book nerd.
it pissed me off, man.
It's awful.
It was one of those things like, yeah, she hasn't proven herself to me as an actress. And sure, she might be a little skinny for the role, but they cast her a year and a half or 2 years out from the fucking film being delivered. She can bulk up and look whatever the way they want her to. And even if she doesn't, if she portrays the character perfectly,
Yeah.
who the fuck are you to say anything?
She has superpowers, man.
Exactly.
She doesn't have to have gigantic arms and giant breasts.
I know.
to achieve that the character.
So that's the first thing is anybody that has seen her, they've seen her in whatever, limited capacity. And on top of that, they saw her acting in a Fast and the Furious movie. She's not exactly really exercising any of her acting chops in a film like that. So
Yeah,
it's a
not
little tough to
particularly.
say, oh, she's going to screw everything up. Why don't you just wait a little while and see what happens?
Yeah, there were a lot of people that were skeptical about the film, and I was skeptical about the film because they're like, oh, I want to see her act, and she doesn't say anything in any of the trailers, or she doesn't have any. And I don't know. I just I didn't agree with it. I could see why people got nervous because I don't think she did. She didn't really speak in a lot of the trailers,
No.
right? Like. I think the accent that she's got on in the movie works perfectly. It
was consistent.
Perfectly consistent. Everyone on Themyscira has this sort of strange accent, and maybe it's not strange. Maybe it's coming from a particular place, but they're all doing an accent of
Yeah.
some kind, and it's all links together. One of the other things I loved is that on Themyscira there are women of different color, of different race.
Yeah, yeah.
They represent, although I didn't see any brown folks. I'm just gonna say, there were no Indian women on this island. That being said, I think I can push that hate aside and enjoy this movie. No, all kidding aside, I think that there was representation and there was the indication that it's inclusive on race, and that was a big deal for me when I saw that. One of the other things that was a big deal was the fact that they didn't make this a feminist agenda film.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was...
Everyone is treated on an equal playing field. There is an easy cop-out version of this movie. And that
Yes.
cop-out version of this movie, I think, is where Steve Trevor is a complete douche.
Yes.
Right? And he's he's a womanizer.
Yeah.
Right? The animated film
Yeah.
takes that approach.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make it a bad film. It makes it predictable.
Yes.
Right? I do really enjoy that animated film, though. It has other things going for it that this movie does not. And
Yeah.
I think we'll get into that a little bit later. But I love the fact that Steve Trevor is a capable human being. He's good at his job, right? He is not a douche. So it's not playing up the men are bad, misogyny is awful, and it's prevalent, and it's holding you back. It's not like that. The movie has bigger aspirations.
Yes.
It sets its sights on bigger morals and bigger themes, and I love it. It's just being the bigger person. This isn't a feminist agenda film. It's not a film. It's a film promoting something much larger than just down with misogyny.
Yeah.
Right. So
Now, to your point that this is Chris Pine's best performance ever, granted, I'm not well
There's probably
versed in his body of work.
There's probably something I forgot. I just don't.
To me, I just see Kirk, but a little bit more noble.
Oh,
Not to get into spoilers at this point.
Sure, yeah,
but-
we'll jump
but
into that.
It's just, to me, I don't see much more. I think it's Chris Pine being Chris Pine, who I'm
Right.
just, based on seeing him in interviews and stuff like that with,
Yeah. Just kind of
talk
him.
shows and shit, it seems like it's just him. So it doesn't seem like it's a very large stretch for him. But that being said, it's still, to me, it's still a great performance for sure. He knocks the role out of the park. I think
Yeah.
he's 100% owning. He's basically playing the secret agent who is a secret agent with a heart. You know, it's not just a job to him. It's not just he genuinely cares about the people that he's doing things on behalf of, not doing them for.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. I think there's more to it. I think that his relationship with Diana in this film is one of the most convincing romantic relationships I have ever seen on film. There's like
On film.
yeah, because I think there are a
Interesting.
lot of movies, there are a lot of films that focus 100% on romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Right? They don't do half the job this movie did convincing me that these two feel for each other, or what they feel for each other, right? And we'll get into more of this later, but I was 100% invested in their relationship. And a lot of it has to do with their chemistry, and a lot of it has to do with their performances. In particular, I think, like I said, since Gal Gadot doesn't have a body of work to compare to, she set a high bar for herself. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Chris Pine has a huge body of work. I think that this is the movie I've enjoyed him the most in. He was the most convincing in this film. I think he's perfected his Kirk, hero, heart of gold craft.
He's
in this
definitely a
film.
better person in this than his Kirk.
Sure.
Steve
That's not
Trevor's
even-
a better person than
Yeah,
Kirk.
no, that's not what I'm getting at.
But I get I know what
No,
you're
no,
saying. I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't want to get into spoilers, but we'll talk about it
Let's
shortly.
expand
Yeah.
upon that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a genuine character.
Sure.
In terms of the other supporting cast, I don't know that there's many other
No, absolutely. I think that Ewan Bremner, the Scottish guy who plays the sniper, and I don't know unfortunately I don't know the names of the other actors, but the character of Samir.
Samir's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
Samir
really
is
like
very
that
very
character.
good. Chief is amazing, and we're not even talking about Hippolyta
Amazonians, yeah.
and Antiope, right?
Antiope, that was the one I could not.
Robin Wright.
Robin Wright, I know.
She
As soon as I
is
saw her, I'm like, House of Cards.
I've never seen House of Cards. I
Dude.
thought of Princess Bride.
Princess Bride, yes, absolutely.
Man, she is a fucking beast in this movie.
She crushes it.
Holy crap, she is jacked. Like she looks like she's gonna fuck somebody up, and she does fuck a couple of people up in that movie.
Certainly does.
She was amazing, and I'm happy to hear that she may be joining a flashback scene in Justice League.
I hope so.
Right. So Hippolyta was very good. Antiope, I think, is one of the MVPs. I think there are two MVPs here that I didn't see coming. One was Antiope, and one was Edha
Mommy.
Mommy. Yes. No, Etta James. Etta. I can't remember her name now. The secretary, Pine's.
Pine's secretary.
I think her comedic beats are fucking perfect.
It's really
She's great,
good.
yeah.
But the thing is, right, I was worried that going into that they were going to basically personify her as like the weak female character from that era.
No, but
as the film goes on, she's not.
She's capable. Like
Absolutely.
she's actually the intelligence portion of that operation, which is like extremely. I not only were her comedic beats spot on,
Yeah.
but she's also like a capable character in the film and adds something to the movie. So yeah, and let's talk about the action scenes real quick. There's a couple of big ones, and I think they mostly deliver. I think that the third act is problematic. I think that it delves into some of the more cliched moments in superhero films. Nothing that's I don't think it's gonna crush anyone's opinion of the movie. I think it's built up enough goodwill where you kind of allow it to get a little hokey toward the end.
Yeah.
But that's all I really would have to say against the film. There are some stylistic choices that I have here in my notes that are completely spoilery.
Spoilery.
But that we'll get into shortly. But that's sort of my general thoughts. I think it's a very well put together movie. It has a extremely convincing romantic plot. It has great action, very well delivered, very well acted. And thematically, and I can't stress this enough, thematically, all of the things that happen in the film come back in the end and everything gets tied up. The message is understood. If you don't get beaten over the head with it, it's a tight thematic package, I think. Yeah.
I agree with everything. For me, so after I came out of the movie, I thought, well, we're going to be doing this podcast at some point.
Right.
I have to write down what happened. It was super easy for me to break this up into first act, second act, third act.
Yeah, right.
And that's how a movie should be composed. If you can break it up like that, that means that somebody that was putting that together probably knew how to do that properly.
Right.
And when it's that clean cut, I think that it speaks a lot for the film.
The structure of the film,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the structure of the film. And the better the structure, the more digestible it is for the audience, and
Sure.
the better it's going to be received.
Right.
But again, performances spot on, choreography amazing. It was just
Yeah.
like all in all, it was just not to sound. This to me would have been one of the best Marvel films in terms of the way that they construct it. When you're comparing
Sure.
it to like Man of Steel and Batman,
Sure.
Superman, Suicide, those ones were all very different in terms of how they were put together and how they felt,
Or how they
watching
were
them.
not put
How they
together.
were not put together. Exactly. This one felt like it had kind of the formulaic Marvel formula, formulaic Marvel movie, but it would have been one of the exceptional ones. Like I would have put Wonder Woman up there with Civil War, or not Civil War. Sorry, not the Civil War was bad, but I would have put it up there with Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier,
with
yeah.
the original Iron Man. Like
Yeah,
that,
for
to
sure.
me, like that, it's top tier for sure.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's that's not trying to lump it in with the Marvel films. It's just Marvel's such a beast right now.
Yeah,
That's,
it is. The comparisons are unavoidable.
Exactly.
You can't avoid them. One of
Right.
the things that this movie touches on that no other movie that I've seen recently does, and especially for our generation, from like we're 84 born, there are not a lot of movies about World War One.
No.
There are very few, and maybe there are documentaries, and maybe there are smaller films,
Wait,
but
was
they're
this
not.
2?
This is World War One.
Nah.
Yes, dude, it's 100% World War One.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I thought they mentioned Hitler.
No.
Am I out of my mind?
Yes.
That's fair.
This is World War One.
God damn it. I thought that. Okay.
World War One.
I'll take your word for it.
World War One was like trench warfare, right?
They didn't have any of that in World War II.
I wouldn't say they didn't have any of it. I'm saying that there were trenches in World War II, but not to the level that there were.
They weren't as deep. They had surface level trenches.
That's right. Maybe you want to look it up. I don't want to sound like a damn fool, but it's
I hope I don't sound like a damn fool.
It's World War One. I'm fucking 99.9% sure it's World War One. The war to end all wars. That's what they call it, right? That's what World War
Well, then
One was.
clearly World War One had made a mistake.
Yeah, anyone who exactly. In fact, it's not. It's actually not that important. I suppose, like in terms of no, actually, it is. I think it is. Sorry.
Then please.
I think it is because World War One is not explored in film. You're looking it up right now.
I am, yeah. I just want to confirm.
I'm too drunk for this.
Well, I have a laptop in front of me. It's easier.
Yeah, World War One and trench warfare that's explored in a lot of other sort of classic films, but not recently. World War Two tends to be the fixation with Nazis and just being a general sort of evil bad guy that you can sort of kill mercilessly without having anybody complain. This was World War One was really a complicated scenario, and that's one of the things I think Pine does really well when he's trying to convey the complexity of this conflict, and they just don't get it. The Amazons just don't understand. It's like he uses the term "great big mess." And it's just like, because you just can't describe it, right? Mm-hmm. And the no man's land sort of concept that they had there, all of that, that's all very uniquely World War One, and you can't have that no man's land scene without it. So.
I'm reading through this stuff because the thing is, I'm very shitty at history. If
I know this. Remember we played that
Code
game,
Names?
Code
Yeah,
Names.
I didn't
It was
know
awful.
that. It was Japan
Yeah,
during
it was Japan.
World War II.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know history.
Yeah, right.
It's absolutely set during World War One.
Thank God for
So
that.
the only reason that made me think it was, well, not the only reason, but the one of the reasons I thought that they had mentioned Hitler during that scene.
They're
I
all
can't talk
German.
about it, but right now we'll
They are
talk about it
all
during
German.
spoiler.
So both conflicts involve
Both
the
conflicts.
Germans. Yeah, that's
I'm just
right.
kidding.
So
But-
they involve the Germans,
Right.
and that's probably why you're getting it confused. Not being someone who reads any of the history or knows anything about history, if the conflict is both actually the same folks,
Yeah.
basically. Not the exact same folks, but
Sure,
the same
sure.
region,
Same region.
geographical
Yes.
region. So
My apologies.
I'm not a history major either. So,
You know more than
yeah.
I thought that they had
so-
mentioned Hitler during a certain scene in the film. I was definitely wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No. Confirmed. World
Yeah.
War One. So I apologize.
Captain America: The First Avenger, however, is World War II with a bunch
That
of
one-
big old Nazis.
Big Tiggle Nazis.
Big old Nazis.
Tiggle Nazis.
Yeah, so I think it's safe to say for the unspoilered version of this review that we enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it. You definitely need to see it. If nothing else, just to
I
me,
want to see it make money.
I want to see it make money. It's definitely making money
Yeah, it's
already.
making money,
It lost
yeah.
to Cars 3 last weekend because fucking Cars
Pixar.
3. Yeah, exactly.
Because of Pixar, yeah.
But it's, to me, this is what the DC film universe needs, and I think that DC as a whole is learning kind of how to do this. Marvel's got their whole movie engine at this point. They can
Yeah.
put out anything and they're going to make money at this point, until they put out a couple of films that are so shit that it doesn't. But until then, they've got their formula and they're sticking to it. They're not taking any risks. There hasn't been a risky Marvel film thus far.
Right.
Everything DC's done has been pretty risky, and they're trying their own thing, trying to figure it out. What they tried isn't necessarily working.
Didn't hit.
Until now. Now they've got not only critical praise, but they've also got
Box office.
box office praise. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for.
Box office praise as well as box office money.
Exactly. So at this point, they've learned their lessons. And I actually just saw an article today about, it was Jeff Johns and someone else basically
Yes, yeah, I
talking
read
about, well, this is the shit we've learned from Suicide Squad and from Batman versus Superman.
Right.
And that's good. Like they're taking note, and
Yep.
that's what you want to hear as a fan.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there's much else to say on this.
On
right
the
now.
unspoilery
on the
side?
unspoilery side.
No, sir. Let's jump into the bonus round.
There was one thing that after I saw Wonder Woman, I came home, and one book I'd had sitting on my shelf for a little while was Wonder Woman: The Spirit of Truth. This was written by Paul Dini and Alex Ross, and Alex Ross illustrated. There was a third gentleman, I can't remember his name now. I'll put it in the
Show notes.
the show notes after, but yeah, it was something that I wanted to revisit after coming back home, because I thought that there was a lot of imagery and whatnot in the film itself that I felt like had pulled from there, or maybe not necessarily, but I'm sure that pulled from elsewhere, but just the images that Alex Ross can depict,
Oh, yeah.
it just they're so vivid, they stick with me.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Alex Ross's Wonder Woman is what a lot of the comic community thinks of when they think of Wonder Woman, because it is so iconic. And his Wonder Woman is a heavier set woman.
Yes.
She's bigger. She's her, like physique is that of more of like a bodybuilder almost.
I wouldn't
say bodybuilder, but it's
But
just
yes.
a I don't know how to say it. It's a larger woman.
Yeah.
She's just a larger woman.
strong, thicker. She's not like, okay, so here I'm going to extremes. We've got Alex Ross's Wonder Woman, which big thighs, broad
big,
shoulders,
broad shoulders.
still big bosom, everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah, whole
she's a
thing.
beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Michael Turner.
Oh boy.
I love Michael Turner's art for the most part. but-
Anorexic Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just the pencil thin waist
Yeah.
and just everything else is just like, it's just not.
Michael Turner comes from a time in comics where that was something that attracted money. I
Right.
think like a lot of people bought for the cheesecake art.
Yes.
And while his art was influential, I do think some cases it was influential in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So Michael Turner, his Wonder Woman is definitely very, very, very thin, and not even I know people are complaining about Gal Gadot's physique. I think
They were.
but they were, but she's like a real woman who hasn't been altered to be skinnier than a real woman should be. I feel like a lot of Michael Turner's art is taking liberties with how skinny, how tiny women can actually physically be. So I think he definitely straddles that line between sort of cheesecake comic book art and superhero art.
Right.
There was someone like Joe Madureira's, for example, Wonder Woman. I don't know if you've ever seen him draw Wonder Woman, but she's really great. Oh God, the name escapes me now. Oh, she did Power Girl. She drew Power Girl.
I do not know.
And then she did Harley Quinn, the series, the covers. Amanda Connor.
Yeah.
Amanda Connor's
Yes.
Wonder Woman is really great. But like I said, Alex Ross Wonder Woman is iconic. And I think that's what they were thinking of. Like, for example, a story like Spirit of Truth. And I haven't read it in a long time. It's in my house. I know you said we were going to do this, and I didn't have time to actually look through it. But I'll look through it again. It's been a long time. Mm-hmm. Does she lift a tank in that book?
She lifts a tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
so
go.
Basically,
she does lift a tank.
Just a quick summary of basically what happens in the book. So at this point, Diana's already left Themyscira. She's on her ambassador mission, essentially, to... I don't know. I don't even know what the ambassador mission, promote peace, really? Yeah. I mean, it's not really it's defined, but just promote peace and goodwill, really.
What it is like it's a club promoter, but she's promoting peace.
Excellent.
Club peace.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, as she's promoting the club peace, she's finding that people aren't taking her... I don't want to say taking her seriously, but they're not... Well, actually, that might be a good way to put it. They're not taking her seriously,
right?
Or they're just trying to disregard what she's trying to represent and all, and being belittled to some degree,
right?
At a certain point in the story, she goes to Clark Kent, obviously Superman, and basically says like, "Look, it's hard for me to connect with these people. Nobody's either taking me seriously, or when I'm there, they just run away, or they're not, they're not connecting with me. What the hell's going on?" And Clark basically says, "You are literally perfect, and you're telling people what to do." People don't necessarily respond well to that. You need to kind of understand where they're coming from. You need to see it from the other side of the fence.
Right.
And that's when she begins to, instead of be Wonder Woman, she kind of takes on a side persona. Doesn't name it or anything like that.
Yeah.
Eventually we know it'll be Diana Prince at some point, but she ends up becoming somebody else. She works as a nurse. She works as a soldier. She doesn't work as anything. She just works as somebody helping out foresting. She takes a few different roles in disguise, not as Wonder Woman. And experiences life from the other side. And she gains a huge perspective on that until the time where she has to don the Wonder Woman garb again and fight for peace and civil liberties and all that. But to her, the whole the entire thing that she's fighting for at this point right now is basically just like making sure that the best of humanity, and she always believes, like, despite all of the other indications to the opposite, that there is humanity, or there's good in everybody.
Right.
Despite how shitty or bad or whatever you want to say people act, there's still some kind of good in them, and that's what she's constantly fighting for.
It sounds very much in vein with the film itself, and I remember a lot of some of these like plot points. This was an oversized graphic novel, right? It was the Paul Denis series with Alex Ross, and honestly, that every single one of those was just visually just astounding, stunning. And I actually have no place to keep them, so I actually keep them under my dresser.
I need to find fucking
I just slide them under.
I've got to find a way to store them properly, because I got them in my I'm turning around. I've got them back there behind me on a shelf.
Right.
There's no sleeves or anything protecting them. I have no sleeves. I need to come up with sleeves or something to perfect. Yeah, they're sleeveless. They're like a douchey man on the Jersey Shore.
That's right. Yeah, the Batman, Superman, Captain Marvel, and Wonder Woman. That was 4. Right?
There was the 4. There was also a Secret Origins Oversize, which again is back there.
Yeah.
Which basically was just the 1 pages that was in those 4, as well as ones for Green Lantern, Aquaman. A Plastic Man was in there.
Secret Origins.
Green Arrow. Secret Origins. Yeah. What did I say?
No, sorry. I thought you were talking. Sorry, I thought you were talking
yeah.
about, I thought Aquaman got his own.
No.
oversized. He did not,
Those
yeah.
are all. They're two-page spreads, just basically going over the origin of them.
Right,
So
right.
Flash is in there.
Yeah, I've seen that in the mythology, Alex Ross
Yes.
mythology art book.
Right, yeah.
And they show some of those panels. and
Exactly.
those are really nice.
So, and then there was another one, Justice. No.
Yeah.
Justice?
No, that wasn't an oversized.
No.
That wasn't written by Paul.
It's
Dini.
another one. It basically had to do with a space rock that turned people sick.
Perfect.
Yeah. It was good though. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked great. It had that really great panel with Batman breaking into the Pentagon. Martian Manhunter's having this conversation with him. How the hell did you get in here? And he's like, it's just another building, just a few more guards and a few more locks. Let's get to business.
That's from an Alex Ross story?
Yeah,
I thought
that's
that
where
was
that
the
came
Public
from.
Enemy story.
No, that came from that.
Oh man, I thought that was Public Enemies.
It
Never
was
mind.
the reason I think the reason you're thinking of it's from that the faux trailer. For
Yeah, the
World's
trailer,
Finest, right?
yeah,
by
World's Finest.
Sandy Corolla.
Oh, that might be his actual
That
name.
is his
Wow,
name. Yeah,
good
it was the
for
guy.
you.
I remember it
Cholera,
vividly.
yeah,
Cholera
sounds not-
Cholera. It's one of the
like a disease.
two.
It is a
But
disease.
he was also the director for the Batman Dead End fan film,
Yeah.
which is one of the best fucking
Yeah.
fan films I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
Cool, yes.
yeah, so Spirit of Truth. So in terms of the visual and how he depicts Wonder Woman, he cannot get away from Linda Carter. No, he can't. Like literally, he.
It
can't.
doesn't look like Linda Carter.
No, it
though.
doesn't. But
Yeah.
so I was reading up on it. Basically, anytime he tried to depict her in the original kind of like early 1900s, where she's got the skirt and kind of that whole look.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't do it. Every time he tried, he's like, maybe in that era it would work, but like in the modern era, he's straight up Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Just kind of in terms of the general
Sure.
look
I mean
of it all.
that's iconic, and she carried it very well.
She carried it extremely well.
Yeah, she made it palatable. I
Exactly. It for him, it was hard to visualize anything other than that.
I would argue that Alex Ross took that and made it even more palatable by creating a visage of the character based on reality.
Agreed.
I mean, looking at his Batman, they all have pupils. They have these things that typical comic artists will
Yeah.
not include to give them that sort of air of unreality, right?
Right.
He's just like, let's see what these guys look like if they were real.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that so when him and Dini were putting this together, they were always asking the question, well, how would she look, or how would people react if she is this Amazonian, super tall, beautiful but formidable? How would she look? How would people react to it? And this whole story came from the genesis of answering that question.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's why he depicts her as just this giant woman, just beautiful giant woman. She's just super tall. She you look at some of the panels and she's just
towering over
she's
people.
towering over people, just clearly looking like the most intimidating person in the room, but at the same time the softest, most gentle soul in the room as well. He just there's just a lot of he does a lot with just the way he carries his characters, the way they stand, the way they look, even just like you mentioned, the subtlety in their eyes. Like Batman has pupils, but you can depict a lot of the emotion just from his eyes.
For sure.
Same with her. There are moments in the book itself where she's got genuine what is it? Just genuine surprise. Like when Clark said that she's perfect, right? She's like, he basically says like, you are to other people perfect, and then she says, you think I'm perfect? And there's this look in her eyes. Well, I mean, it's on a piece of paper, but the look that he has in there is general bewilderment, but there's almost a playfulness to it.
Sure, yeah.
It's interesting. It's super interesting.
Yeah. I 100% understand. I remember when I was reading and I'll read it again now that we're talking about it, but I remember Alex Ross's depictions of all these heroes just being wildly different and not immediately appealing for me as a younger reader.
Right.
What was I into? I was into like the Joe Madureiras and the Michael Turners and like the Jim Lees, and you get someone coming and doing a traditionally painted hero, not just painted but fixated on the reality.
Yeah.
This is a guy or a woman in a costume, and it looks. When I first saw it as a kid, I'm like, oh, where's Where's the, the giant, bulging like arms and chest, and like where's my like sexy like superheroine, like that's not here.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you can't appreciate that, right? But as
Right.
I got a little older, what stuck with me, all of the other stuff melted away. All of the cliched cheesecake depictions sort of melted away, and what ended up staying were very specific renditions of these heroes. And one of them is Alex Ross's Wonder Woman is the pinnacle of that hero, right?
Yeah.
Frank Cho, I believe, is it Frank Cho that did the Brian Azzarello Wonder Woman run? No, Cliff Chiang. Cliff Chiang. His Wonder Woman is amazing. Frank Cho is another artist who has drawn Wonder Woman, and his Wonder Woman has been very, very good. But I think Cliff Chiang's Wonder Woman is wonderful as well. But Alex Ross's Wonder Woman is what people think of.
Yeah.
And
I do, for sure. Like, whenever I depict the character, that's what I thought. And to Gal Gadot's credit, I see it there.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not even like in the physicality. It's the
strength.
It's
the strength of persona.
Yeah.
Or the strength of person.
Nah, that's perfect. That's perfectly put.
Yeah.
She evokes the strength of the character. Yeah. She doesn't need to be like a bodybuilder or 100 pounds heavier.
No.
Like she evokes that character's emotionality and that strength through her ability to convey her emotions. So
right.
It's like you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what's at stake. She conveys that Alex Ross Wonder Woman through her acting.
Yes.
100%.
So that's what I'm pitching today for the bonus round is if you can, please check out Spirit of Truth. I mean, all of the Alex Ross oversized ones. There's Batman War on Crime. I'm going to see if I can remember all these. Batman War on Crime, Superman Peace on Earth, Shazam Power of Hope? Something of Hope?
Something like that.
Something of Hope.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman Spirit of Truth. All four of those are fantastic. But just for this podcast, obviously, we're pitching the Spirit of Truth.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but check them all out. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
And this concludes episode 2.1. Stay tuned for episode 2.2, where we go into all the spoilers for Wonder Woman and discuss pretty much everything we can. Thanks for listening, and cheers.